And like you, Antoine, I'm writing this stuff down to talk on the pod, and I am like asking myself, who the heck votes for Marjorie Taylor Green? And I was like, I have to look this up. I have to look up who is in this 14th district. So,
okay, I'm interested. This is something that I've actually started to do as well. I've started to, because there's a lot of stuff when it comes to looking up politics, right? And you feel very powerless, and even I've combated with you about why are we even covering Merry Thanksgiving? Like what is it about her that we have any power to control, because she's representing like 0.01% of this country's people, and those 0.01% just are really happy with chiding children who've survived mass shootings, and threatening people with different ideologies, whether it be political ideology or religious differences. They're like, we're happy to persecute those people. This is just, we're just happy to do it. We're happy to do it. There's a lot of people in history that are not usually favorable who fall on that line, but they're like, we're different. We're not Nazis. We're not out here trying to, but we kind of are out here threatening to kill people because they don't believe like we do, or at least our representative is doing that. But we're different because I guess we don't have camps and we're not in charge fully yet. But when we're there, I guess we'll be the Nazis, but we won't be the Nazis, right? Because we're Americans, and you can't be a Nazi if you're American because Nazis are Germans. I'm just trying to figure out how you rationalize your support at that point for someone who's doing these kinds of things. Must be the rabbit hole you have to go down to say, well, I'm a Christian, so I can't be a Nazi.
I don't think they reflect. I think that they are conditioned. I think they're conditioned, and they just go. And
right. They're just they follow orders.
They're just doing it.
Which is really interesting. You just follow the orders.
I think this is the way it is. This is what they know, and no one's challenging them, and they're just kind of doing their thing.
Right. You don't believe like me, so you don't deserve to live. Cool. All right.
I mean, it was something like only 3% of the population traveled 90 minutes to get to work. The majority, it was like a 20-minute commute to work or something. Like, so everyone's super local.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's talk about who the 14th district is.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a break from the sacred timeline, and we're gonna move it on over. So we said that Greene was born in 1974, and in the 70s and 80s, the area was represented by Larry McDonald, and that's who I called out earlier, right? And Larry believed the civil rights movement was a communist plot, but I'm willing to say that was then. Yes, it had influence over her, but that was then. Who are these folks now? Let's not just say that these people are all cuckoo now. Well,
now wait. I mean, what Larry? This is 1974. You're saying
70s and 80s. This is the dude that was representing them.
Oh, okay. So he did. So he
was around.
To a point. All right.
Yeah, he was around.
I was trying to give her. I was either trying to give her some credibility, like a way out, or
I'm thinking her family. Blah blah blah. She grew up during this, and she emerged from it. And I don't know how much things change in the 14th district of Georgia.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's like, 1980 comes around. She's 6 years old. I don't want to, I wouldn't want someone to paint me at 6.
I don't know, man. People treat Reagan like a god. So.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I'm just saying, but it's like, she's not in charge of this guy necessarily. So
and by itself, no, but let me finish, because itself, sure. By itself, it's nothing. Right. But all together, it starts to paint a picture. And that's what we're doing here. We're finger painting here, Antoine. We're going to see what it turns out to be. All right. So, all right. Those were that was in the 70s and 80s. Who are these folks today? Well, 75% of the residents voted for Trump. 6,000 residents recently signed a petition to save a local statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Fun fact. He was the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, I thought that name sounded familiar.
Yeah. And Rome, the largest city in the district, has, features a statue of Romulus and Remus. And local legend celebrates that it was a gift from Mussolini.
Oh, wow. This is okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. It is very rare when you do I think it's called, I should have looked it. I always forget it. There's an internet philosophy where if you have an argument with a bunch of people, there's only a matter of time before it devolves into, well, basically Hitler. And I cannot remember the name of the philosophy right now, but that's where it is. Like all roads lead to Hitler, no matter what you say. And I was just guilty of it by talking about Nazism in the way that these people seem to be, conducting themselves in the public sphere. It's just rare that you actually get some semblance of, usually it's just hyperbole. It's rare to see some sort of, justification actually fall into your lap. What that is wow. Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan revered, and sacred Italian statue from Mussolini. This is absolutely, this is getting wild.
I'm just finger painting here, Antoine. I'm just finger painting. All right,
you're doing more than that. This might be a Picasso. This man is painting a masterpiece. Figure painting is for children. We're in adult territory now. You're putting these pieces together. Go on, Mona Lisa.
All right, but still, let's get to know these people a little more. Okay. So the 14th district has 725,000 people in it, and 40% of the land is rural. The median age is 38. The median property value is 160,000, which is below the national average, which is 245,000, so significantly lower. 96% of the residents are U.S. citizens, which is above the average for Georgia and the U.S., meaning this particular district has below average diversity.
Yeah. It's almost like there's a sign that says welcome to whites only.
We'll get there. Average household income is $58,000, below the national average, which is $75,000. In fact, women make an average of $31,000 a year and men make $41,000. Out of the 14th district's population that lives in poverty, 13% live below the poverty line, which is higher than the national average. And the largest demographic living in poverty are females 25 to 34, followed by females 45 to 54. And by race, it's white, followed by Hispanic and black. And I mentioned that because 78% of the residents are white, as you could have guessed. And then one source even said 85%. 11% are Hispanic, 9% are black. So just for context.
One source have like a white hood as their reference, like as the page turn?
No, but what I'm getting at is like,
okay,
these people are all doing poorly. They're not doing well. No one is being served here, really. No one is... Whether you're racist or you're not, like you're following these people and they are doing you wrong. They are not doing you right. Like they are doing you.
They're not changing your circumstances.
You're not doing well.
Your life,
you are below the national benchmarks. You're below your state benchmarks. Maybe you shouldn't be this way. Maybe you should start to act a little differently because you're choking yourselves.
Well, there are some questions I would have. Like for instance, we don't really poll on things like this anymore, but I would actually, based on how the below average nature of majority of the metrics that you're citing, like what is the literacy? Is the literacy rate?
Well, I don't know the literacy rate. I can tell you 15% graduated college.
Jesus, you said, wow.
15% graduated.
How much below the average is that?
I don't know, man, but I actually didn't look that one up, but I think that's low. I feel like that's really low.
I feel like it's not many places you could only say 15. I mean, again, we have to think about this. This is 20. When was this? When are these stats you're quoting?
These are the last census. Yes, these are recent.
It's 2020, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is 2020, 21st century that these metrics are coming in. That is very low for only 15% of a population to have actually reached secondary education. That feels very low.
By comparison, New Jersey's 40%.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. On average, I would say it's got to be something closer to the 40 to 50% range.
Yeah,
to be in the teens. That says a lot about this area. That's jaw-droppingly bad.
I've seen like 52%, 60%, 40. Like so, yeah, they're low.
Crazy. Yeah.
Wow. And so the district's economy is manufacturing, which provides 68,000 jobs. mostly made up of like 100 and something or 200 factories that make carpets. They actually consider themselves the carpet capital of the world, is what they say. Healthcare is number 2 with 37,000 jobs, and retail with another 37,000 jobs. And the highest paying jobs are actually for the utility companies at $65,000 a year. Okay, so that's who the fine folks of the 14th district are.
I do want to clarify that I'm not saying that college is like the only path, and it's like if you didn't get there, you're unsuccessful. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that the debate about college is definitely changing today. And if we're talking about college right now, there is a different type of debate going on in terms of the validity of what's being taught in terms of college. When you have a whole population, which is ranging from ages that are, what is it? You're quoting like people who are 65 and up, you've got a massive range. I don't know what the average age in this area
38.
is.
Average 38. Age is 38.
Okay, 38. That's fine. I'm just saying in the early 90s and late 80s, there was a big push for college, and especially in the late, early 80s where college was still inexpensive. Getting a college education at that point, it's not burdening you with debt. So just getting, doing it it's like you do it to do it because it's not going to hurt you at the end of the day. Today, we're talking about, going $100,000 in debt for an English degree is a completely different animal. So to have that metric that be so low as an average for the population at a time when college was the thing to promote, it made sense to go to college. That's what we're talking about. So when we're saying 50% of a population at that point, I mean, these are people who did not go to college in the heyday of going to college. That's what's wild about it.
And it's not 10% below national average. I mean, it is low.
It is significantly below, right?
Yeah. So anyway, back to the sacred timeline. So
yeah, gotcha.